Welcome to this high-level overview of Agility Harmony. We will take you on a quick tour of some of the standard features as well as show off the raw power of the Harmony platform. Since this is possibly your first time or very early in your time with us, you'll see some words and phrases be highlighted on the screen throughout this video. If you are new to digital marketing or email marketing, consider downloading the job aid below, which contains definitions of these terms as they are pretty common amongst Harmony users. So let's get started. Agility Harmony is a cloud-based digital marketing platform built to manage data and creative assets so marketers can easily assemble and send relevant campaigns to their customers and act based on their success. Essentially, this means Harmony can help you store, assemble, distribute, and report on the various campaigns in your marketing program. In most cases, when I say campaigns, you're probably thinking emails, but fun fact, Harmony can perform all of those tasks with SMS or text messaging, as well as mobile push notifications. Harmony starts out as an organizational hub where folders, seen here on the left, let you categorize and separate your data, such as my lists and segments, content, such as images found here or my HTML segments, campaigns, such as ad hoc messages or real-time emails like confirmations, and reporting data for all of the different campaigns that I've sent. To show off some of the organization and sorting capabilities in the Harmony dashboard, I've switched over to the Campaigns tab, which you can do by clicking on the Campaigns button at the top navigation bar. From this screen, you can look at all of your campaigns that have been created or modified in a given time range. You can change that time range with this drop down here, so I can see everything in the last week, or the last month, or the last 3 months if I wish. As well as if I were to select one of these campaigns, such as this static email, I can move it to a different folder, copy the campaign, which will take all of its properties and content and just duplicate it in the tool, or archive this to hide it from initial view. With storage and organization taken care of, let's look at assembly and distribution. We will continue down the email creation track for the rest of this overview. So I'll kick that off by clicking on the Create button and creating a new email. Now, for any task in Harmony, be it importing data or uploading an image or creating an email like we're doing here, there are tabs on the left that will walk you through the process from start to finish. For an email, it's really as simple as taking a list that your data team imported into the tool, so we'll take this loyalty rewards members list, and attaching it to HTML code that your creative team gave you, or you worked on your own. So I'll go into content, and I have some code here that represents my email that I've created, and insert it into the tool. From there, it's just a few basic settings like adding a subject line, which we'll do under the Properties tab. Get your loyalty rewards bonus now, and then deciding on a time to send. I'll go ahead and name this first, so we'll call this my loyalty rewards email. And we pick a time to send. Of course, if you've been in the business, you know it's never really that simple, but that's where Harmony can really shine. So let's complicate things, in the good way. Having a list and having a message represent the basics of any marketing campaign. But qualifying and segmenting the right recipients and showing them relevant content is where the real success happens. So, are you ready to go down the rabbit hole? Let's say you have a flash sale just for your loyalty members. Sure, you can take your loyalty rewards members list and send a big email saying flash sale, and you might generate a little traffic. But what if you could show them sale products based on their preference, like favorite sport in this case? Harmony Segment tool lets you run queries and segment audiences based on a specific criteria. So in this case, I can take my loyalty rewards members list and segment them to find everybody who has a specific favorite sport. It's a favorite sport. So now it's asking me for customers who belong to my Loyalty Rewards members list and has a favorite sport that is equal to camping. Or I can make it for water sports or for cycling, anything that I wish. Now, these preferences can come from either the customer's own setting them, or if you're gathering transaction data, you can leverage Harmony's transaction tables to decide this value based on what those customers shopped for in the past. And what if, instead of creating 3 entirely separate emails, you could create one email where a small section dynamically published based on that segment? Those small sections that could change are called content blocks in Harmony. So hero spots could be created to change with their audience, like with what we're doing here. And what about creating dynamic publishing? That sounds complicated, and not in the good way. Harmony has a tool called Content Maps, and what they let me do is assign a segment, just like what we created earlier, and align that with a specific hero spot or any type of content. In this case, it is a hero spot, so I have my camping flash sales segment that we created, and I've attached it to my hero camping spot. If I want to add more, it's as simple as clicking on an add button, finding my segment, so we'll do cycling, and then finding the content block that I created, cycling. There it is. And Harmony can easily let me distinguish what to show everyone else as well. So here's my everyone else. It's there by default. I have a default. With that, I've created something I can insert into an email to dynamically publish it. To really drive the urgency of the flash sale, what if you could have a clock in the email that showed exactly how much time they had left to take advantage? Harmony's live content is capable of exactly that, as well as other unique tools like a store locator to get those shoppers to a location near them. And what if you could personalize the email so your loyalty customers could see this email was created just for them, as well as be reminded of their rewards point balance to make shopping that much more enticing? Well, Harmony can do that too. For those looking to test out creative for better response rates, Harmony lets you try ideas on a small sample before committing to your full audience. This works for subject lines, which is great for open rates, as well as content and the campaign itself, if you want to try different methods to enhance your call to action. If we're talking Harmony functionality, this could go on for a while. From conversion tracking to tie your campaigns directly to revenue, mobile functionality like SMS and mobile push, smart linking to send readers straight to a mobile app or app store, as well as integrations to other Epsilon tools like Agility Loyalty and Conversant, the takeaway here is Harmony can do a lot, no matter how simple or complex your program is or what new initiatives you would like to experiment with. A campaign is essentially audience data and creative content combined and distributed. Since we've covered content pretty well, let's talk about data management. Your customers can be loaded into our tool from an FTP or from a file you have on your machine. From there, we turn them into a list that you can send campaigns to, or you can work with the unique tools that Harmony provides to target customers further. Harmony isn't only focused on simple customer data either. We also support transaction tables, where your system sends us transaction information that we can use to segment audiences with. While we're on the topic of transaction information, you can also leverage APIs with Harmony that will let you send information that could send transactionally motivated emails like purchase confirmations and shipping confirmations. In addition, we can break away from customer data altogether with our reference tables, where a single key unlocks an entire set of creative and data. For example, assigning each customer a store number and referencing that to display phone numbers, addresses, maps, and hours for that store without having to type it in for each campaign. Harmony not only lets you work with your data effectively, but also efficiently, and a bit creatively if you'd like. We talked about content blocks to dynamically publish small pieces of content, but Harmony also lets you store more regular elements of your creative for repeat use. Most emails have a header and a footer, and maybe a section for legal and unsubscribe information. Why make your creative or coding team deal with them every single time you create a campaign? Code them once and reference them over and over. What about with text versions? Since the likelihood of a recipient even seeing the text version is so small, it's common practice nowadays to have a text version that simply points people to your website and nothing more. So again, code it once and insert it into your email with a simple drop-down menu. In this case, I have my default text version that just points you to the web page or the web version of the email. All I need to do is go into my campaign. I have a text version tab down below, and I can insert this content. So I'll insert existing content, and I will find that default text version. Click and insert. You'll show this, which basically means it is referring back to this creative here, but that's all that it takes. It's inserted. I don't have to touch it anymore. With data inserted, audiences created, content assembled, and campaigns sent, the last step is to see how you've done. Harmony's reporting covers a few key areas, primarily highlighting opens, clicks, delivery rate, and can even show off conversions with a little setup. And it also lets you dig deep into where your response is coming from. So let's very quickly go over the other types of reporting data you can get when you deep dive into a particular campaign. This is a basic snapshot. We are tracking revenue, so you can see that revenue, as well as the opens, clicks delivered, all those statistics we saw on the previous screen. On the left are some other options. If we had multiple audiences, we can view the opens and clicks by audience. In this case, we did have dynamic content, so we can see the different versions of the campaign that were sent out. So for this example, we had cricket, archery, and football. We can see how many versions were sent, as well as the opens and clicks for them. A heat map, which is a visual representation of where response came from. Links, which will let us see the specific links in the campaign, as well as how they did. So of the number of link clicks there were, this was the percent that clicked on this first link, and the second link and the third, and so on. We also have domain reporting, so we can see of the recipients who received this message, how many of them were AOL or Gmail or Outlook, as well as how did they do, how many opened, how many clicked. We can also view by device. We're able to track devices, so we can see how many people opened on an Android in this case, or we can view by iPhone or on a tablet or on a desktop, as well as we can view the unsubscriber and undelivered reports as well. If there was anybody who did not want this campaign or could not receive this campaign for some reason, we would be able to see those reports. And lastly, you can export more raw reporting data, so that way if the format that we present to you does not quite work for your stakeholders, you can select the fields that you'd like and the type of information you want to report on, and export that into an Excel document or a spreadsheet that you can manipulate for your team. So far, we've talked about storing, assembling, distributing, and reporting on your campaign. I've thrown quite a bit at you, from some very basic ideas to some rather complex processes. And no, there are a lot of tools I haven't discussed. At this point, you might be thinking this is going to be a lot of work, or management, or things to remember, or keep track of. But what if I told you much of this can be automated? Not everything, of course, but Harmony's sequence tool allows you to take some of those tasks and put them on a schedule, be it one time or recurring. Because this tool is so powerful, I'd like to do a quick demonstration of it, and we'll use the flash sale email example we've been using throughout this video. What you see in front of you is the sequence canvas. And what this lets us do is take certain actions of Harmony and attach them to one another to create a full automated process. Now on the left are the actions that we can choose from, and many of them are ones we've already talked about. Selecting an audience, importing to a list, sending an email or an SMS message, even exporting reporting activity throughout this email activity node. Now on the right is where we'll move all of these into and then create that conversation or create that process, which we've already done. So for this example, we'll say that we're not letting people know of a flash sale happening now, but one that's happening in the future. So let's say we sent this maybe 4 days in advance. This process is telling us we'll start by selecting an audience, which is the loyalty rewards members list. And then we're sending a flash sale email, just like the one I mentioned. Now what I want to do is I want to separate those who have opened it, and if you have opened it, then I don't need to send you anything else. But if you haven't, I'd like to send you a reminder. That's where Sequence can help automate. This branch on event node lets me say for everybody who did open, go ahead and finish. And for everybody else, send that reminder email to let them know, hey, we have a flash sale tomorrow. Once those individuals receive that flash sale reminder, then they're finished as well. What this allows you to do is set up a campaign that spans over the course of 3 days and set it up once and not need to go into the tool again. And Sequence isn't limited to just sending out emails. You can do this process for importing new records into a list or even exporting larger reporting activity. So that's going to do it for this Harmony overview. We've discussed organizing assets, assembling a campaign, adding unique marketing complexity to that campaign, working with data and content, reporting on your success, and a little about how to make all of this efficient, if not automated in some cases. The Harmony team has created online courses to walk you through all of this in more detail, as well as some classroom trainings if you prefer more personal guidance, as well as extensive documentation to reference as well. We encourage you to explore those along with the very powerful Harmony tool. There's a lot of ground to cover, and we're here to take you every step of the way.